What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is the Wisconsin State Road Race. This preview is from the very end, final climb, and I'll show you how exactly we got here throughout the course of this video. So here we are. This is where I started recording. We are halfway through this race, and we are on we had just finished lap 2 of 4. This race is about 55 miles, if I remember correctly, and quite climby. Temperatures, I think, were like in the mid-70s, and we have a big crosswind in this section of the course coming from right to left, as you see it, as you probably can also hear it. These three riders that are in front of me here, we've got Eric Hill on the front here from Project Echelon, team director, Wisconsin native, super strong rider. The other two riders that you'll be seeing a lot of in this video are Tim McBurney from Team Mike's Bikes, recent Wisconsin transplant from California. And we've also got a guy named Adam Bird, who you'll see right here coming through on the front. So the situation is that we have a group of 2 that are off the front. They've got a little less than a minute advantage, and what is remaining of the main group here is maybe 5 riders, including myself, and we are working to bring that group of 2 back. My tactic on this day was a lot like my tactic at the Masters National race. If you have not yet had a chance to watch that video, check it out. And very similar course, very similar finish. It's kind of an uphill sprint finish, as you saw at the very beginning of this video. So we're jumping ahead here, taking you to this first corner on a sort of square-shaped course. You'll see we go from this nice blacktop here onto some sort of like chip seal, pretty common in the state of Wisconsin, and a little bit rougher of a road surface. So this section of the course, it's a little bit more climby. We got some uphill sections, and as you can see, this group's still pretty good, working together, you know, guys taking turns on the front and trying to work together here to bring this breakaway group back. But if you take a look at my heart rate and my power numbers, I am keeping my powder dry, as I like to call it, being super conservative here with how much energy I'm willing to spend. And too much of this, as you'll see, and guys will not be happy with the pace. They will start to attack. So we'll show you one of these attacks here coming up. So just to give you an idea of sort of the dynamic in this group, you know, guys letting little gaps open, and then we've got this rider Adam Bird here attacking off to the left. You can see my power numbers. We're going to do some power here just to make sure that we don't get left behind. And we're going to keep this sort of sewn up, keep it all together on this slight uphill. Wind direction is basically right in our faces right here, so we've got a sort of like block headwind that we're dealing with, so it's a huge advantage to be behind another rider. So attack neutralized, though the rider on the front here is still definitely on the gas. Looking up the road, you can sort of see up in the distance maybe the lead vehicle. I think at this point in the race we had those 2 breakaway riders more or less in sight on the longer stretches of road, and that definitely has an impact on the group's willingness to chase. So we will skip ahead to the next section here when we finally do make the catch on those lead 2 riders. So at this point the catch has been made. Still doing some pretty good power up these little climbs, as you can see. We've got Eric Hill again on the front. And brought us back to this moment just so that you can see the next sort of flyer that goes. So this is a sort of theme on the day. A lot of single riders or small groups going off the front. Not a huge attack there by Tim McBurney on the left. Just no one willing really to follow him, no one willing to close it down, so off he goes. And again, given the fact that this section has a big headwind, you know, I'm not really willing to close that down myself. Here we've got Kurt Druffel and Devin Hatch, a couple local boys, Platteville alum and a Platteville student. And those were the two that we caught that were off the front early. So they're giving chase here. Eric looking back, seeing if I'm going to pull through. He's got his eyes on me for sure, kind of waiting to see what my next move is going to be. So I'm going to kind of snap to these wheels, and you can see I'm going to go ahead and put down a bit of an effort here, over 1,000 watts, getting back to Adam Bird's wheel. So Adam is super strong. He maybe was one of the riders with the best legs today on this course, and just willing to put in a lot of big efforts like this throughout the day. And here we have Eric going over the top, so kind of 1-2 punching this course, and I feel like I need to respond to that. So another pretty decent effort. You know, I mentioned earlier that I was kind of trying to keep my powder dry, but moments like this where we've got one rider off the front can be a little dangerous for us here in the back, so I don't want to let him get off the front with another rider at this stage of the race. So, as you can see, there are a lot of little moments like this. You know, I'd say this is a pretty good example of the type of race that we had on our hands. A lot of little sprint efforts, and then, you know, zone 1. We're doing like 150 watts right here. And it's kind of a game to see who's going to blink first, you know, like who's afraid of the threat that is up the road, and who's willing to put in the work to try and bring it back. So we're going to skip ahead. I'm going to take you to a late stage in the race on a section of road that's coming up. So if you look at the map here, you can see that we've got another right-hand turn coming, and this was like the big crosswind section. It was the most dangerous part of the course, in my opinion, for a climber like me. And so that's where we're going to head next. So here we are. This is the final lap. You can see these guys are doing some big numbers now. There's a lot less sort of looking at each other happening. There's not a rider up the road at this point, but we've got some tired legs in this group. And if you look at the bottom left, you can see the types of power numbers that we're doing. So this group's a little spread out. We got one rider up there doing his thing. I think there's a second rider up in front of him at this point, and we are about to take this right-hand corner onto this critical section. So I'm putting some watts down here. I know that there is a risk in getting left behind on that stretch of road. As mentioned, this is like a big crosswind section. So what you didn't see on some of the previous laps was riders really putting everyone in the gutter here, basically, which is pretty common in crosswind sections. So wind direction is coming from left to right now, and we've got Eric Hill in front of me and Adam Bird in front of him. So what you're about to see is another really, I'd say, like critical moment in this race. You know, again, my tactic here is basically just to try and not let anyone get away from me, but I don't want to be doing a ton of work if possible. I'm trying to save my legs basically for the final climb. And so here we have Adam Bird kind of pulling off to the left, giving a little bit of the elbow flick. He's trying to get me to rotate through. You can see he's kind of giving me the hand gestures here. So I'm going to snap onto Eric Hill's wheel. and just hide as much as I possibly can. So he's looking back, he's going to start coasting. I am chilling, I'm not doing anything, and now we have Adam Bird attacking up to 1,000 watts. Me just trying to hide in his wheel as much as possible. So this is a moment for me where it would actually be really nice, maybe in future videos I can consider doing this, to have a rear-facing camera. You can't really see what's going on behind me, but we have opened up a little bit of a gap to Eric, and then behind Eric there's another little gap to the rest of the group. So the group is basically getting shredded right now, and I am riding on the coattails of Mr. Bird, who is doing some serious watts. We're going 32, 33 miles an hour on this flat with, again, maybe like a 15-mile-an-hour crosswind. So you can see how far to the right he's going on this road. I barely have any draft. And he's going to give me the elbow flick, and maybe a surprise to those of you who are watching this video. Maybe not a surprise, I'm not coming through. So I'm happy just chilling here. I don't really, care if this group comes back together. Maybe some of you would disagree with this move. Maybe you think that it would be advantageous for me to pull through here, to do work with this rider, and to stay away from the rest of this group. But for me, I have a ton of confidence in my ability to win the climb up towards the finish line at the very end, and so that's kind of what I am saving my legs for. And yeah, you can see here I'm doing 400 watts in the draft, and so Adam is super strong. He's doing some real work on the front, and his tactic right here, it seems, is basically to try and stay away, right? He's trying to keep us away from all the chasers. He would prefer to time trial his way towards the finish line, and I think understandably he's getting a little frustrated here. He's doing these big turns, pulling off to the left, hoping that I am going to pull through. And as you can see, that just does not happen. So this continues. We eventually are going to make this right-hand turn, and that is the final stretch of this race, and we have a bit of a tailwind, so that's where we'll go next. So as you can see, before we even make that corner, Eric Hill has tagged on, so he fought his way back, doing a pretty big effort, I would imagine, trying to follow the wheels of Adam Bird, who is again doing some watts on the front. And this section was super fast every lap. We are now in the tailwind, and given that there's three of us here, given that there's really only one of us who's motivated to be doing these turns, this whole group is going to come back together. So all the riders that were split up off the back, there's going to be a group of, I believe, 5 of us coming into the finish, maybe 6. A couple other little attacks here. These guys are doing everything they can to try and shed these riders. They are not banking on out climbing this group at the very end. So little cat and mouse games, and nothing too serious. So I'm going to jump ahead to the critical moment, the moment that you saw in the preview, and that is the final, let's say, 2 or 3 kilometers of this race. Alright, so as you can see on this map, we are very close to the finish. We've got maybe, I don't know, something like 3 minutes of this race remaining. So we've got Adam Bird on the front. He is doing significant power here. Still staying on the gas. And based on that last section, that crosswind stretch of road, I am assuming that he's got the most, energy left at this point. So I'm sitting second wheel, kind of trying to keep my eye on him, waiting for maybe a late attack. And again, can't see behind me here, but we've got at least 3 or 4 other riders. All those riders previously mentioned are in this group. We have come back together and heading into this final climb. Don't know if you saw that. Little things that I noticed. Adam Bird on the front here took his left hand and kind of reached back and grabbed on his hamstring a little bit. That is a sure sign that he is feeling all of these efforts, which is something that shouldn't surprise any of us. Again, he's been doing a ton of work on the front. Yeah, there he goes again, slapping that left hamstring. And we are coming in to this final. A lot of these roads might be hard to tell when the finish is coming, but this final stretch is one that I can definitely remember. This is a race that I have won past 2 years, so I am the defending Wisconsin State champion at this race, and it has been largely the same course, same area, so very similar topography. It's going to be climby for sure. And as we come around this corner, you can start to see some of the spectators out here. So I am hugging this wheel, and there goes Eric Hill making his big attack here at the end, getting up to 1100 watts. Trying to follow this. That sign off to the right is the final 200 meters, so he sits back down. Still doing some pretty solid power, maybe like 500 watts. I stand up a second time and kick up to 1,000 watts. And shift into my big ring. By the time I make this left-hand turn, I'm looking behind me, and I am all alone. So that, my friends, is how you win a Wisconsin State Championship in the road race. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, stay tuned. We'll have more videos for you up shortly. Check out our sponsors in the description, and we'll see you on the next one.